Hello and welcome to Bargain Bin, the show where we take a look at clearance toys and try to figure out why they failed. So, here we are again looking at Hasbro's Blazing Team, which hasn't been doing very well. Pretty much everything has gone on clearance with this holster set here, which is normally $20, being found at $5 below, which means it's only $5. On the other hand, Blazing Teens, the Chinese series on which Blazing Team is based, is doing well enough that it finally has an English dub, and it is, of course, completely terrible in the most wonderful way possible.
I stuffed all of it in my mouth.
I command you to give passion to me.
What? That's crazy!
You slept over there?
Yes, I did. Is there a problem?
This is not so her.
What?
Now, the actual holster set includes a tiger version of that auto-winding level 0 yo-yo I demonstrated before, a tiger print arm coverlet, and of course the holster, where most of the cost goes in. The holster is a belt clip that contains a flexible ring onto which you can stow the yo-yo from before and easily draw it up. It is honestly really large, obnoxious, and silly when compared to the thing that goes inside of it, and the fact that it more than doubles the price tag makes it kind of difficult to justify, which sort of segues into my other point. Now, the last time I talked about Blazing Team, I sort of compared it to Redakai, and I've been mulling it over a bit, and the more I think about it, the more and more apt I'm finding that comparison to be. See, Blazing Team came about as a result of a cooperation between Hasbro and our old friends at Aldi with their Blazing Teens line. Now, what Aldi has to boast is that they actually have a pretty large stable of high-quality, low-cost yo-yos, including the immense shark here, which, in my previous video about it, I detailed as the best $10 yo-yo I have ever seen. Hasbro pretty much ignored this for the most part, however, opting to instead only use the really gimmicky ones, like the switching ones, or the light-up ones, or the automatically returning ones, etc. I mean, we got a small glimpse of the niche the Aldi yo-yos can fill in that their clutch type is way cheaper than the clutch type of other brands, but for the most part we only got the ones that do silly things rather than act as quality yo-yos. I'm not lying when I say that the Morph Master, despite its vibration problem, is probably the best thing in the entire Blazing Team line, because the other ones are literally just that off-kilter. For example, they made a yo-yo that's supposed to light up when thrown, but rather than use batteries like every other brand, uses a generator which, 1, means that there are lights on only one side, and 2, they only light up when the yo-yo goes up or down, rather than during a sustained trick. And to cap this all off, we have the holster, a big, clunky, expensive peripheral which frankly does nothing to benefit the experience. I mean, Blazing Teens 5 knew that you just needed a loop with a charm to have the same effect without the high cost. Big, clunky, useless peripherals, huh? Where have I seen that before? Now, as for why it happened, a lot of toy companies like to keep exclusive access to the toys they produce, which is likely why Hasbro opted to only bring over the gimmicky ones to avoid competing with brands like Duncan and Omega, but really the comparison was inevitable and they really hamstrung themselves by focusing on gimmicks rather than utilizing Aldi's price advantage to its fullest. And of course there's the show. I'm going to try to avoid repeating myself, but I still find the Blazing Team show to be dull and full of tired character types that was clearly focus grouped into the boring mush of an action show that it wound up being. On top of that, it almost seems to shun the product that it was designed to sell, focusing more on a silly action plot with yo-yo kung fu rather than actually show how cool yo-yos can be by introducing some tips and tricks. Blazing Teens 5, for all its ineptitude, is a far more engaging series in how it breaks down how a lot of the actual tricks work and can even give tips which you can use in real life to get better at yo-yoing yourself. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, didn't I call out Vanguard for doing exactly the same thing? Well, no, because it's not exactly the same thing. And that's because all of the tips and tricks that they show off in Blazing Teens, you can do with any brand of yo-yo of adequate quality, not just the Aldi ones. Not to mention, the fantasy elements are introduced right away. Heck, the yo-yos are shown literally evolving into new forms as the skill level of their user improves. And of course, it has a yo-yoing robot. I guess Hasbro didn't think that a yo-yoing robot would be cool or something.
I command you to give passion to me.
Now, like I said before, not dubbing Blazing Teens was the right move on Hasbro's part, but I still think that they would have done far better if they had properly embraced the culture and made the show more about the skills and tricks associated with yo-yos, with slowly unraveling fantasy elements rather than another dime-a-dozen action show about gathering the life energy of the universe. Could have reinvigorated the yo-yoing scene around the world and implemented Aldi's low cost of entry to their advantage. They made a gimmicky product rather than a good product, they developed several huge clunky peripherals and backed it up with a really bland action show. They did everything that Spin Master did with Redakai and they were surprised that it failed? I mean, not even going that far, Hasbro didn't really seem to understand the kind of product that they had in the first place and almost seemed to be keeping it at arm's length. Well, let's hope we can learn from this. The yo-yos are all really cheap now, the Morph Master is still a perfectly good thing to pick up, and the Blazing Teens anime dub is now free on YouTube, so hopefully we can make the best of this. And until next time, this is Kodak signing off.
What a beautiful duet.
I stuffed all of it in my mouth.